What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Recap, where we recap what's been going on. I'm Daniel, joined as always by my best friend Skyler. This week, we got trailers for Fantastic Four: First Steps and Jurassic World Rebirth. Rooster Teeth is back from the dead, and we're going to take a look at what Rolling Stone claims to be the best video games of all time. But before that, Skyler, what'd you do this week?
This week I have an answer. I saw 2 feature-length films in the cinema this week. I saw Leigh Whannell's Wolfman, which has been getting mixed reviews, and I thought it was okay. I don't think it's you need to avoid it. It's not like as great as I think some people were hoping, but I think it's all right. And then I also saw Companion, the Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid movie thriller, I guess you would call it. It's fine. The biggest thing about Wolfman is it's just like very straightforward. We want to turn this guy into the Wolfman, and it's when you're trying to look for stuff beyond that, like, okay, what's the movie about? It's a little bit lacking in a way that's surprising for Leigh Whannell, but I mean, if you like werewolves, it's okay. I gave it 3 stars out of 5.
What if I like werewolves, but only when they're sexy?
This movie's not sexy.
All right, I'm out.
Yeah. And then Companion, yeah, that one was a fun one. It's funny that Jack Quaid has absolutely been typecast in a role that he nails, which is just everything you've seen Jack Quaid as before. Just a bumbling goofball, even if he's perhaps a little nefarious, who knows?
Yeah, because he's got that, and then I don't know if it's already out or if it's coming out soon, but he's got the one where he like doesn't feel pain, which
Novocaine.
That one
yeah.
kind of, honestly, that one kind of looks like a mess to me. Like there's a lot of scenes where he's like shoving his hand in deep fryers and stuff, and I'm like, that's still gonna mess up. Like you can't use your hands after that, whether you feel it or not.
Yeah, it's looks goofy and stupid. I'll probably check that one out, and I'll let you know exactly how goofy and stupid it is.
Good. That's what I require. This week, the number one thing I did is something that we did together, which is we watched the Royal Rumble.
Yes, we did.
The God, how many years have they been doing this now? It's got to be at least like the 30th Royal Rumble now, right? The Royal Rumble, I think we said this last week, is like probably my favorite pay-per-view of the year typically from WWE.
I think it's
at least.
A lot of people's, mine as well, yeah.
This one's was like fine. You know, I don't think there was like maybe one thing in this on the whole night where I was like, wow, cool, awesome. And then the rest was kind of just like, yeah, all right, yeah.
While watching it, because we now have 2 Rumbles, we have the Women's Rumble and the Men's Rumble. The Women's Rumble was probably the one I enjoyed watching more. That's what started the show. And it was a really fun, really well-balanced Rumble that had some good surprises, returns, and showcased a lot of lesser known talents from like NXT and stuff, if you people that don't watch that. But it had a very, very, very predictable ending.
Yeah, and I would hazard to say
win that, I think.
Bad ending. I don't think anyone was like, I mean, everyone kind of knew that Charlotte was going to win, but I don't think anyone wanted her to win.
But she's been gone for a minute, so I feel like people will be more accepting of it. I personally was like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't dislike Charlotte. I suppose it's annoying how much she was pushed. Because when you over push somebody, it's like, oh, really, again? If assuming that the 2 women's champions we have on the main roster continue to be women's champions to Mania,
right?
I would say that she should face Tiffany Stratton, because in theory, win or lose, like a big main event program with Charlotte will help bolster her. That's kind of what they tried to do with Rhea. They did it wrong. You know, when it was Charlotte versus Rhea years ago, and then Charlotte beat Rhea, and nobody wanted to see that. I feel like, I don't know. I think Tiffany Stratton would be the one to choose, because otherwise your option is have Charlotte face Rhea again, and we don't need or want that. We've had, Charlotte beat Rhea, nobody liked it. Rhea got her victory back over Charlotte for the title. Like,
yeah, that story is done as far as I'm concerned.
That should be the end of that.
Yeah,
it really should. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
Like if Charlotte faces Tiffany Stratton at Mania, I don't think I'll really care much about that match. And that's kind of the thing that like disappoints me about this year's Royal Rumble is that I think that its general purpose is that like the Royal Rumble is supposed to make you excited for WrestleMania because the winners of both of them are sort of main event
Yeah.
of WrestleMania. Both of the winners, I go, I don't really want to see a match with them.
Yeah, that's been known to happen in recent years, probably like the last 10 years. It's been very possible that whoever wins the Rumble is just like, oh, okay. Like we're waiting for the other half. The rest needs to build from here, kind of.
Yeah,
Like so on the men's side, it was won by Jey Uso.
yeah,
And I think that's fine. I think people are kind of split on Jey Uso right now because he's been like a quote unquote main event babyface for a couple years now,
yeah,
and he like this is the culmination. Like, hey, you've been a big merch seller, big main eventer for us last like 2 or 3 years. You're gonna get a title shot, presumably against Gunther would be the one I would assume he would be going against, and he could probably win it, hold it for a bit. I don't want to undersell him and say like hold it till SummerSlam and then lose it to someone else, but
right.
um, I could see that, and I don't mind that. But again, it's not like, ironically enough, I don't even see that being a main event caliber. Like,
I don't know if it'll be a main event at all. I don't like if it's him versus Gunther. I know that the thing is like, oh, it's a main event at WrestleMania. I
yeah,
think that they might just pretend that it's a main event, but I don't see that being even the main event of night one.
they've done it all the time where they're like, this is a special like three main event night of
Yeah, where it's
WrestleMania, and
just
it's
a
just
lie.
yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, we know that whatever Cody is doing
That's
is
gonna be
going
night
to
two.
be the final match of night two. I will be shocked, I'll say that, if we go another year without Roman versus Rock, which people have been like pining for and expecting for like 8 years.
Yeah,
And it's just like, oh, I'm the Rock, I'm busy. I'm the Rock, I don't do wrestling. Oh, I'm the Rock, I'm gonna do wrestling.
but
And then
maybe
like they
what if I
almost gave it to.
didn't?
It's silly to say like I can't believe they haven't get. They tried. They tried to do it last year. They tried to force it on us when nobody wanted it. So I don't know. Being a wrestling fan is a little fickle, I guess.
The only kind of fandom that might be slightly more fickle are fans of the MCU.
Oh boy.
And speaking of which, we got that trailer for Fantastic Four: First Steps. I I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on
It's
board with this.
I think it looks really good, and I'm like, but it's this weird thing where like I don't necessarily feel excited about it because I'm like, there's I don't know. It maybe it's no, it's not even maybe. It is literally I am jaded towards the MCU now.
Yeah, I think most people are, to
It's
be fair.
like because I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, like I'm seeing Galactus' shadow. Like, what are they going to do with that? How are they going to make that lame? And then it's like, how are they going to force the multiverse into this? Because what I think I like the most about it is that it looks like it's a completely new universe. It's very like
Yeah.
retro, futuristic, very 60s
Mhm.
like aesthetics going on.
Mhm.
And I think that's super cool. I really love that.
Well,
But I
that's your
know,
that's your answer is how they're
yeah,
forcing the multiverse because we're already in the
we're in a
multiverse.
different universe. But what I mean specifically is like I know that at some point in this movie, Robert Downey, Doctor Doom is somehow going to like show up, or it's going to destroy that. Like that universe is going to get killed by Galactus, and they're going to end up on Battle World or whatever the hell the Secret Wars thing is.
In theory, Robert Downey is the mid-credit scene or something like that.
Yeah,
So what I'm excited for about this movie, and I think it's a good thing that I'm saying this, it's the main four players. It's our Fantastic Four. I
yeah,
like all four actors. I think it's very well cast. I'm not even like sure Galactus. We're gonna get a comic book accurate Galactus looking thing. That's cool. Finally, that's neat. But I'm not even really that into. I'm into these four guys in this kind of retro futuristic world. That's what's got me hooked. I think. I mean, I don't. We're gonna repeat all the same talking points people have been saying for like 20 years with these movies. Where like
yeah,
some of the CG looks a little wonky, but it's just a trailer, so it doesn't matter. Hopefully, it
yeah.
gets fixed up.
Some of it definitely looks wonky. There were like allegations that it was AI, and like if you look at some pictures, it's like, yeah, some of that might have been AI. So hopefully that doesn't end up being the case. I hope that they aren't like using AI to partially edit or whatever, like do post processing on the movie or whatever. That'd be really disappointing to find out.
I I just hope that for the main part of this movie, because we are in a different universe, they've said that, and yeah, we know that the Fantastic Four will get sucked into Battle World and
Yeah,
whatever. But I hope for the main runtime of this film, it being in its own universe allows us that separation from the MCU that we just get a good Fantastic Four movie,
for sure.
something that we haven't really ever gotten. I'll admit something to you. The like 2005 Fantastic Four movie, I don't hate that one.
No,
It's
yeah.
not great, but it's fun.
No, I would agree.
I like it
Yeah,
for like that
I would
time
say
period.
it's bad, but I also like it.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it is bad,
Like it
sure.
is bad, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
The second one not so much. Silver Surfer not as much.
I like the Silver Surfer in that movie, but but that's about it.
Yeah. The
Which, by the way, Silver Surfer's also in this.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
we
Because there was a thing where it's like, oh, they're doing a girl Silver
yeah,
Surfer, and
we've
the
got the
internet was like,
casting.
you can't make
Oh,
my Silver Surfer a girl.
and you know what? It's topical. I don't remember her name, but the actress that's playing Silver Surfer was in Wolfman.
Was she the mom from the trailer?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know the actress's name, but I know who that is. Is it weird that, like, for me personally, the best thing that they can do with this movie is just have it be completely standalone, have it not touch the rest of the MCU at all?
that's not what we do in the
I
MCU,
know
though.
that is the best thing that could happen to this movie. I think is for it to just be its own thing, and even then, I'll be like a little bit disappointed because if it ends up being really good, it's just a lose for me. Because either it's going to be disappointing or it's going to be really good, but then that universe is going to get destroyed at the end of it, and it's like, oh, so then we can't get another one. Oh, great, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know
So
if
it's like, oh, well,
they'll.
I get one good movie and that'll be great, but then it'll be like, but then what? You know what I mean? And then we're back in this same situation of like, what do I have to look forward to with the MCU?
I don't know if they'll like purposely, like permanently destroy the universe. Like something will happen. Man, this is above my pay grade. I don't know.
Well, because the whole thing with
All I
like
can do
Secret
is look
Wars
forward to
is
it.
that Super Doom or whatever his name is, like takes all of the things from a bunch of different universes and sticks them together, and then at the end of it, it's like a soft reboot, and that's what everyone is assuming is going to happen with this. Is they'll just take
Yeah,
a bunch of parts from these disparate universes and like create a new MCU that they can work from, and like that's how we'll end up with X-Men or whatever, right?
yeah. You just gotta go one movie at a time.
I
If we get
know.
a good Fantastic Four movie, you gotta be thankful for that. But you know, other people showing up in this movie. In the trailer, we see John Malkovich for a second.
Right.
We don't know who he's playing, I don't think.
I mean,
Um,
to be honest with you, I don't know enough about Fantastic Four to probably even recognize the character that he's likely playing.
well, okay. This is not what I'm about to say is not who I think John Malkovich is playing. But are you aware of the fact that Mole Man is supposed to be in this movie?
I feel like I've heard that. I don't really know who that is at all. I assume it's just the guy from The Incredibles, basically.
Well, I'm assuming that for YouTube at least, you're gonna put up a picture of comic book Mole Man. Yeah, so looking at Mole Man here, this is this is what Mole Man looks like. Now, Paul Walter Hauser's in this movie somewhere. They haven't said who he's playing.
Paul Walter Hauser gives more energy of Mole Man.
Absolutely,
Put him in a
that's
little.
gotta be what he
That's got to be
is.
what that is, right?
And then also a person in this film is Natasha Lyonne. She was in What If
Oh, I don't care about what I feel like at all.
as a character named Birdie.
Oh, I did hear about this.
She's the daughter of Howard the Duck
Mm,
and Kat Dennings. So, we're gonna hope that that's not who she is in this. Because I'm gonna be honest, if the human daughter of Howard the Duck shows up in my Fantastic Four movie, I might be a bit out.
yeah, I think
It
I'll
might
probably
kind
just
of
check
like
out at that
it
point.
might make my brain reset for like 10 minutes. I might miss something. So it is what it is. This trailer looks good. The cast is amazing.
Hmm.
I'm pulling for this movie. I really am.
Me too. Um, I'm also pulling for Jurassic World Rebirth, which we also got a trailer for. This one I feel like I'm maybe this is a crazy thing to say. I think this one probably has a better chance of being good than Fantastic Four at this point.
I think that's one of the most insane things you ever said to me.
I look, it's a really good cast. It's a unique, like, original story. We're not following the characters from Jurassic World, even though it's called
Sure.
Jurassic World. This is clearly like a different thing.
Sure.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't even really feel like Jurassic Park because the dinosaurs are just out in like Costa Rica or something. Like they're in the real world, so it just feels like a different thing. I think it looks really good. This could just be a action movie where we fight dinosaurs, and that'd be a good movie.
The trailer makes it look like a blending of the aesthetics of the Jurassic World trilogy and the Jurassic Park trilogy. So hopefully that leads to something good. I'll tell you what I do like in this trailer. It does look like a dinosaur action movie, which is good.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Mahershala Ali is out of Blade jail.
He
He's
gets
finally
to-
in a movie again.
Gets to do something.
And Scarlett Johansson she's like doing some real Lara Croft stuff here.
She kicked a dinosaur. That's like all I
Kicked a
really need to
dinosaur.
know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'll give it a shot for sure. Talk about being jaded to Marvel. I was definitely jaded with Jurassic World movies after the last one, the last two.
I didn't see the last two, so that's probably why I'm feeling more positive about it. Because I saw World, and then I didn't see Dominion or other one with the Joker dinosaur, whatever the hell that was.
I saw both of those.
Yeah, didn't see those ones. But I don't know. This one, I'm curious about it. I'm curious about, like, in the trailer they say something about, like, we have to get the dino DNA from, like, the three biggest dinosaurs. And I wonder if they literally mean the physically three largest, or if it's like the three most
the three
like
fan
iconic.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that that's because the T-Rex is not one of the three biggest dinosaurs that we've seen, right?
No.
That would be like probably the mosasaur. The Spinosaur is bigger than the T-Rex, I'm pretty sure. So, but
Yeah,
I
it
don't think
is.
we're going to see that. So I think it's that, and then like apparently like one of the really big pterodons, because we see that in the trailer, and then I don't know, like a big ass brontosaurus or something, like a titanosaurus or something.
If this movie is them going around the island doing dinosaur boss fights trying to collect the three special dino eggs, that's cool. I'm down for that. I don't know. I guess, I'm skeptical, but if it's a good dinosaur action movie, what more could we ask for? Like, I'm not even really viewing this as a Jurassic Park movie at this point. If it's just we got to go punch the dinosaur and then escape on a speedboat, that sounds like fun. Should have been a video game.
It may be both.
It'd be cool. Yeah, you know what? What Great Circle did for Indiana Jones, we need someone to step in.
For Jurassic
Need,
Park.
to
You would
do
think
for
that would
Jurassic
be...
Park.
That feels like a surefire hit, right? Is you just do a cool action movie with dinosaurs, but it's a video game? I mean, that's
Yeah. basically
basically Dino Crisis, but Dino Crisis has been dead for a long time.
Yeah, man,
Honestly,
I don't
there's an opening for like a dinosaur-themed video game.
know. Not robot dinosaurs like that one.
Which one?
Horizon.
Oh, Horizon. Yeah, because there's that, and then there's like there was one that came out called Exoprimal that was really, really stupid, but like kind of fun. Where it was you were in a mech suit and robots or like dinosaurs came through portals, but like in huge swarms for seemingly no reason.
We're so on the pulse of what's going on here on Ready Set Recap that tomorrow, after we've recorded this, we're like, oh, we want a new dinosaur action game. They're going to announce a Turok reboot tomorrow.
I hope so.
Just you watch.
Well, okay, so not a reboot, but there is a new Turok game coming. We already know that. It's I don't know if it's a sequel or what, but there is a Turok game that was announced like I don't know.
I'm
months
choosing
ago.
to believe that we didn't know that, and I just willed that into existence.
Okay. No, that's fair. But hey, speaking of things coming back from the dead, Rooster Teeth is back, baby. So I don't really know like the whole story of how it died in the first place because I don't really understand how Rooster Teeth became owned by Warner Brothers and like when that was a thing. But
Yeah, I don't know. That would have happened when I stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
We're both of the age where we would have grown up with when Rooster Teeth was Red versus Blue, obviously, and then all their many things. And yeah, you know what? Warner Brothers probably got a hold on them because of Ruby, right?
I wouldn't think so. So part of the thing that the article that I read said was that Ruby is actually still not owned by Warner Brothers, and it never was. It was owned by
Oh,
Viz Media.
well, never mind
So
then.
Ruby's just like its own thing entirely. I really don't know anything about Ruby because my
I've
trajectory is what
never
I
watched.
assume is the same for you for Rooster Teeth, where I watched it a ton as a kid during like the Achievement Hunter, like
Yeah.
early Red versus Blue days,
Uh-huh.
and then stopped around, I don't know, like the tail end of the 360 generation in terms of video games, and then just did not
Probably.
pay attention to it
Just kind of
forever.
aged out.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers somehow, for like during their book cleaning from all the money that they lost shutting down Batgirl and that Acme Coyote movie, uh,
Well done.
they also were like, oh, we don't need this rooster. What's a rooster? Roosters don't even got teeth. Let's shut this down. And just like
Mhm.
threw that out, maybe with the bathwater style. But it seems like, well, not even seems like, what has happened is that former owner, now again owner Bernie Burns and his wife Ashley Burns, uh, seemingly just bought the brand back. So they're rebooting it. It seems like it's going to take a long time for it to get back up to speed. A lot of the people who used to work for Rooster Teeth have gone off and started their own things and may or may not come back. Who knows?
Yeah.
They were saying that they're going to try and reboot a lot of the old shows, which apparently can include Red versus Blue. They own that again now. So that's cool.
Cool.
So they didn't rule that off the table, but they didn't specifically say any of the shows yet because the announcement of it was just on their podcast. They have a podcast of their own, apparently. And they were just like, so we bought it and we're going to do some stuff and we don't really know what yet, but like we wanted it back, so we got it. And I respect
Interesting.
the hell out of it.
Yeah. Hell yeah for Bernie. That's a big win. Love to see it. It's good news. I'm very happy for them.
Man, they specifically said like, hey, don't bother the people who used to work here about like, hey, are you going to go back? Are you going to go back? Like they said that specifically. Don't go and
Yeah.
ask them.
Especially,
But
I mean,
unfortunately, that's the thing I'm like the most curious about knowing.
well, at this point, I don't even, other than like the OG, like the Red versus Blue cast, I don't
Yeah,
even,
Jeff and
I
Jack
didn't
and
didn't keep up with everyone. Yeah, so Jeff and Jack were in charge of Achievement Hunter, and then that, you know, became like its own little mini corporation with tons of people in it.
I will say it's been like kind of a trend lately of old YouTube channels sort of buying themselves back
Oh, with
because
Smosh as
yeah,
well,
because
right?
Smosh also just bought themselves back from their previous owner. To be fair, their previous owner was not terrible. They actually treated them really well because it was mythical, the like Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link, like, and they
Yeah,
apparently
yeah,
were
sure.
great owners and like took care of them and everything was nice, and they still are doing collaborations and stuff constantly. So that connection is still there, but Ian and Anthony of original Smosh just bought the thing back and now they're doing their own thing, and it's really cool. So now, I mean, I don't really know what other YouTube channels from my childhood could even possibly like bring themselves back from the edge of destruction that I would want to see, but I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
no
cool.
idea.
It's cool to kind of like see my childhood get rebooted in this way.
Sure, to see that legacy continue and not just get shut down by corporate greed. That is definitely a plus.
Yeah. Another thing that, just to throw it in here, apparently, speaking of things we love from our childhood coming back, apparently the lead writer for Fallout New Vegas
Ooh.
just went back to working at Obsidian, and
Oh.
Avowed, their current game, comes out in like a couple weeks, so they're probably starting a new project pretty soon.
Oh.
Ooh, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but
Fallout New Vegas too. He said it.
the
Daniel
rumors,
said it, not me.
to be honest with you, the rumors of Obsidian doing another Fallout have been circulating for
Yeah, for a
like
while.
basically since them and Bethesda were both bought by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Um, who, and I don't like big corporations, but I will say, right now is like the only big corporation that I can even remotely get behind, because Bill Gates like literally just went to the White House and was like, "Hey, can you all stop fucking around?"
Ooh.
Like he petitioned them to stop,
Just
specifically like all the Elon Musk stuff.
just buy him, Bill Gates. That's what you do here in
Yeah,
America.
yeah. So
Just outbid him.
I don't love big corporations as a rule, but I find
Yeah,
that to be respectable, and I'm happy about it.
I agree.
But yeah, so potentially a new Fallout game coming out of Obsidian in the next 5 to 6 years.
Love to see it. I would love to see more Fallout coming my way.
Yeah, because him and Josh Sawyer still works there, and he's currently without a project as far as we're aware. So he might have already started working on it, and then this new guy, not new guy, but like old guy coming back,
Isn't Josh
could be
Sawyer
just like
a guy
finishing
on
up.
Lost?
You think of,
Sawyer played by Josh Holloway.
or yeah, I thought you were just combining Sawyer and Jack, but yeah, that makes
Oh,
sense.
no, okay. All right.
So that brings us to our topic of the show, which is, I don't know if you saw this doing the rounds online a little while ago, but Rolling Stone, not traditionally a video game company, has just put out a list of the top 50 best video games of all time.
And when you say just put out, when did this happen? When did this
January
publish?
6th, so about a month ago.
January 6th.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Wow, yeah, so they just did it. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I should probably say this is a list written by illustration by Shira Inbar. Hold on, let me find the name of the person who like wrote the thing, because they put a lot of work into it and they deserve their credit. It actually looks like it was probably worked on by a lot of people. So just know that it was done by Rolling Stone.
You can find it on Rolling Stone, which they probably credit whoever wrote it better than we will.
Yeah. That is true. But they did some good work here. So I want to get your take on this as like not exactly a video game outsider, but like certainly a more casual video game person.
Sure.
So I'm just going to blow through the first 25 really fast because there's 50 of them, and
I don't know. I feel like we could just rapid fire all 50 if you wanted to.
I mean, it's entirely possible. I'll read the blurb of like how they chose their picks, because I think that's important. They say, there was a time when a great video game just needed to be fun. In the days before 4K screens and season passes, it was all that mattered. It didn't matter if the design was janky, if you could finish the whole thing in one sitting, and frankly, if it was way too hard. But things evolved. Over time, games became more layered. They could tell a story the length of a novel or with the strength of a film. They could challenge the mind, either with puzzles or a test of reflexes. Most importantly, they could bring together people. In an online lobby, arcade, or just on the couch, gaming is really the story of people who play them. But to pick the best games ever made, there's a lot of considerations. Gaming is a medium where sequels thrive. They can always look and play better. And while certain gaming dynasties run dozens of entries deep, there needs to be representation across the board. Today, everyone's a gamer, but they're not all playing the same thing. For this list, we looked at both how influential each game was at arrival, as well as whether or not it still holds up. A good game may have played well, but a great one still does. These are games that made the culture what it is today and will chart where it goes tomorrow. So number 50 is Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I think is totally fair because it was the game of the pandemic. It came out at exactly the right time.
100%. That game saved lives.
It saved lives. Number 49 is Hades.
Hey, nice. Shout out.
Shout out.
Friend of the show, my childhood friend, Ed, is a level designer on that game. He works at Supergiant.
Well, clearly he crushed it because he's Rolling Stone's 49th favorite game.
Good job, Ed. We love you.
Yeah. Number 48 is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Number 47 is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Number 46 is League of Legends.
Okay.
I mean, look.
I get it. I get influential. I understand. Lots of people play it.
Yeah, speaking of which, 45, Fortnite.
I am not one of them. All right. Yeah, I get it.
I feel like they kind of had to be on the list for how big they are.
Sure.
I'm glad they're on the low end of the list.
League is obviously in the same boat there, with just how big it is.
Yeah, they're massive. People don't talk about League a lot, but it's like one of the most money-making and most played games constantly.
I think League players have been shamed into not talking about it.
It's because League players...
League of Legends, you say, ew.
Well, the thing about League of Legends is that people who love League of Legends hate League of Legends. So
yeah,
they're not even out here like defending their own brand.
That are that exact description.
Shout out Christian. Number 44 is Elden Ring. Number 43 is Celeste.
I've never played Celeste.
I've
heard great things about Celeste.
I like it, and I love the music of it. I think it's really overrated, but it is good. Number 42 is Batman Arkham City. Number 41, Metroid Prime from 2002. I've never played a Metroid, so I guess we'll have to get to those on replay.
Oh, yes.
Number 40, Chrono Trigger. Number 39, God of War from 2018, the new one, the boy one.
All right, I get it.
Number 38, Shadow of the Colossus, 2005.
I love Shadow of the Colossus.
It's really good. Number 37, Pokemon Gold and Silver. I'm very curious as why they chose specifically Gold and Silver. I don't know that that's most people's favorite. I feel like people either, like, if you were going to say most influential, I think you would say Red and Blue. But I think if you were saying one that is most people's favorite, you would say Ruby Sapphire. So the fact that it's Gold and Silver is interesting to me.
Yeah, that's someone had some biases making this list. Maybe
it was probably just like their specific favorite.
Sure.
But honestly, like, I don't know. I think if you had picked any of the first 3 generations, you're probably fine.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Number 36, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 35, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Number 34, and the first one from our favorite games list, Hollow Knight. Number 33, and I think this is another one where it's just like it had to be there because of how many people play it, NBA 2K11. I don't have
specifically 11.
I have no context as to why it is specifically 11. No. They have little blurbs here. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
I mean, but I have nothing against sports games. I play Madden all the time, but I don't know why. Yeah, why was 11 the best one? Because I don't play NBA specifically.
Couldn't tell you. But I think it makes sense for a 2K game to be on here. Number 32, Miss Pac-Man. Number 31, Counter-Strike. I'm going to be so real with you. The first Counter-Strike is obviously influential and probably needs to be on this list. I think the Counter-Strike community is one of the most toxic video game communities of all time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's so bad. If you go on YouTube and you find one of those like shit-talking channels where they're just like getting in on drama or like talking about the woke agenda in video games, 6 out of 10 times it's gonna be with CS:GO like ski gameplay while they're flipping
it's the modded.
Yeah,
exactly.
Number 30, Wii Sports. I think that's a good pick, considering everyone's mom knows what that game is and has probably played it.
100%.
Number 29, Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. Number 28 is Minecraft.
Yeah. I'm surprised that's not higher, to be honest.
Me too. Number 7, Resident Evil 4, the original from 2005.
Hell yes.
Number 26, Mass Effect 2.
Hell yeah, that should be higher.
So that's the first half of this top 50 list, and I will say,
no personal biases, that should be number 1.
Yeah, I will say, as just a spoiler, they do a pretty good job with this list, but as you start getting closer to the top, it's like, really? Are you sure?
Now thinking about everything we put in the second half,
I just wanted I wanted to put those out there so that we know that everything I'm about to say is being put above those.
Okay.
Number 25, Stardew Valley. I think this is a fair choice.
I've never played Stardew Valley.
It's hugely popular. I haven't played it either, so I can't talk like too much trash about it. I know a ton of people love it. It gets a lot of playtime. Apparently, it's really good. I think it belongs on this list most likely.
Sure. Not more popular than Minecraft, though.
I wouldn't think so. Think so.
That's interesting. I mean, I can't personally speak to Stardew Valley. I don't know what's up there, and how it met the criteria better than Minecraft. But if you're thinking about influential, the amount of people who play it, like...
it looks like they specifically say, while many games are distinctly goal-oriented, Stardew Valley's combination of relaxing vibes and low-urgency tasks manages to turn the labor of farm work into something more therapeutic. It's a game of true escapism, making every urbanite's fantasy of going off the grid into an achievable reprieve.
Right, I could pick up what they're putting down.
Yeah, I think it basically like invented the genre of cozy games. So I understand it.
Sure.
But me personally, I'm like, better than Mass Effect 2? Are you sure? Better than Hollow Knight? But that's fine. That's obviously my own personal. My list would be different, obviously.
Yeah.
Number 24, the next game that we're about to play for Ready Set Replay.
Ooh.
The original Sims.
That's right. I gotta fork over $20 to an evil corporation so I could play it on Steam.
Yeah, hey, at least they finally actually made it playable. Because
up
until, I think, literally a week ago, you would have had to have had the discs, and we were trying to figure out a way to make that work for both of us.
Yeah, well, thanks, fans of the show.
Yeah, tune into The Sims Ready Set Replay whenever that comes out in the near-ish future for the full story on how much of a pain in the ass it almost was to play The Sims in 2025. They say, it's a game defined by its quirks, eccentricities, and the gibberish language, Simlish, and the sexy Grim Reaper. I don't remember him being sexy, but whatever.
Why does everyone want to fuck the Grim Reaper?
Can I tell you, my coworker, who is super into The Sims,
Yeah.
was telling me the other day that she is playing a playthrough of The Sims 4 where it's like
Uh-huh.
a Black Widow playthrough where you just marry
Th-
people and then kill them off.
I
And
that's
because
not
she
people
has,
do that. I've heard
yeah,
of other
it's
people
insane.
doing that.
But she has apparently killed off so many men at this point that she has seen the Grim Reaper enough times that she has built a relationship with the Grim Reaper, has slept with him, and is now pregnant with his child.
That's like okay.
The Sims is.
No, listen, I'm not
I don't know
knocking.
what The Sims is anymore.
I'm not knocking it. I get it. Everyone's got their own goals. You do you, girl. I'm just saying, like, it's not shocking, but like very interesting that this is a goal that many people have. They're like that
Yeah,
he's the end game is having the Grim Reaper's baby. But hey, maybe when I'm playing The Sims, if he looks at me right, I'm thinking, all
yeah.
right,
He could be
let's
hot.
let's see
Apparently,
what's
he's
going
hot.
on.
Number 23, Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, that's pretty iconic.
It is. I feel like this should be 2, maybe 3.
Oh,
Because
Tony
like,
Hawk Pro Skater 2?
yeah, because
Not
2
not
is
Tony Hawk Pro
better.
Skater at number 2 on the
No,
list.
no, 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 no. But the better Pro Skater is Pro Skater 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
IMHO.
don't disagree with you.
So it's an interesting choice, but yeah, I think this had to like if you were like specifically setting aside slots for sports games, which I guess this would count as, then I
Yeah.
think Tony Hawk has to be one of them. It
So,
is that big
yeah,
of a deal.
100%. I agree.
Number 22, Call of Duty. Can you guess which one?
Modern Warfare 2.
You're so close.
Oh,
Just
Modern
Modern
Warfare
Warfare.
1?
Just Modern
Damn.
Warfare. Yeah.
Damn.
Call of Duty 4
I
Modern
said I
Warfare.
said 2 because that's where like the online play really started to pop off, I think.
Yeah, it's because Call of Duty existed since like the PS2, basically.
Yeah.
But I think it really started exploding onto the scene with not World at War, but the one right before World at War.
That was Modern Warfare.
Oh, well then here we are.
Yeah.
We did it.
Turns
We got
out we
'em.
figured it out ourselves.
Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. Like that was probably the first time that I remember Call of Duty being a thing that people cared about. Like it existed before that. Like I played Big Red 1 on the PS2 and I loved it.
Sure.
But it says it was a seismic success whose impact could be immediately felt in how shooters and frankly any type of online game would be designed for years to come. Its many features may feel commonplace now, but Call of Duty's innovative vision for contemporary conflict planted the seeds for how games are still being played today. Which is true.
Okay.
So many
Yeah.
games now are just like trying to be Call of Duty. It is still, any year that a Grand Theft Auto doesn't come out, it is the most money-making game that exists. So
People like to shoot stuff.
people love shooting stuff. Speaking of shooting stuff, you'll be happy for this. Number 21, Fallout 3.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, we made it. We got him. We got him on the list. It says RPGs had met first-person shooters before, but Fallout 3 brought unseen complexity and high-risk reward factor to every decision, whether it's pickpocketing or deciding the fate of an entire city by telling a player-driven narrative that retains a satirical current throughout. Fallout 3 paired the best parts of its predecessors and expanded into a more immersive and engrossing world. The industry has been chasing its unique blend of humor and pathos ever since. Number 20, Mario Kart. Which one?
Oh my gosh, not just the first one?
It is not the first one.
Double Dash.
Nah,
Damn it.
64.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like 64 is the good one.
Uh,
I feel like, I mean, I guess 8 is probably the good one. 8 Deluxe is the one that, like, if I was going to play one, that's the one that I would put in. Even if I had access to all of them equally, that would be the one I would want to play.
yeah.
But I guess 64 is, like, I guess that makes sense for, like, impact. I'm not upset about it.
It's Mario Kart.
Number 19, this one I think is getting a lot of recency bias. Baldur's Gate 3.
Hey, that just came out.
It came out, well, I guess technically 2 years ago now because it's the beginning of 2025. But yeah, like semi-recently.
So, yeah, this is wild to admit as someone who's like, I like D&D, I like video games, I love fantasy.
Yeah.
I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet.
It is good. I really, really enjoy it. I think 19th best game of all time? Absolutely not. Absolutely
all
not.
time.
Not a shot.
You know, now that you just said the words of all time, this list kind of recontextualizes in my brain.
A little bit, right? I don't know. Like it's good for sure. It does some interesting things, but I feel like a lot of people who were talking about this game when it came out, they were like, "This was the game that was the first to do this," and it's like, no, it wasn't. Like there's hundreds of RPGs that did this before, and a lot of them did it better.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I think this one is getting a lot for
This is the first game that lets you have sex with a Starion.
it's yeah. I think it's recency bias a little bit, and I think it's also that like it is a very horny game. Like there was an update that came out afterwards that had a bunch of bug fixes because the game at launch was absolutely broken. But the only thing that people wanted to talk about that came out of that patch that was like 30 pages long because of how much stuff they had to fix was that they added new kissing mechanics,
Yep, 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 yep.
including one
There
where
you go.
Asterion like forces you to kneel in front of him before he kisses you,
That
which is like weird. It's just weird. I don't know, man. It's a good game, but it's just I don't.
All right, all right. I'm about to say a really hot take here.
Yeah.
This might lose us some fans, some subscribers. I'd go with the Grim Reaper over Astarion.
Can I tell you?
Yeah,
Asterion is my least favorite companion in that game.
I believe it.
I don't know. I think he might just be a bad person, like genuinely. He does some. I'm not going to spoil anything. He does some bad things and does not apologize for them at any point.
Very nice. You know, I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I love when I'm just stuck with people that I hate.
Well, you can just kill him. So there's that
okay.
at least.
Well, we'll see. When I play, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Number 18, Madden
2008.
2004.
Ah! I don't know. I just said a random year.
I mean, I do think that 2008 is another one that people talk about a lot, but 2004 might be the only Madden game I've ever owned because I think I had that on PS2. I'm like pretty confident.
Let me think. I think 2008 was the first one on PS3. Does that timeline add up?
It says, but of all the installments, 2004 holds a special place for many as the one that introduced owner mode, taking the action beyond the field into controlling a franchise, right down to the hot dog sales. So I guess that's something people really wanted to do.
Sure. Yeah, people love that.
Sure.
I get it.
Number 17, Diablo 2.
All right.
Yeah.
I never played Diablo.
I've never played any Diablos, so I don't have anything to say
I'm not
about
alone
this.
here.
I know that Diablo 4 was really, really popular. It made over $1 billion in its first year, which is an insane amount of money. So I don't know. I don't know which one's the popular one. I am surprised that it's number 17. I'm surprised it's this high.
Yeah.
But, you know, those games are popular. Number 16, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense.
It makes sense. I love Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically. I hate Red Dead Redemption 1. I think 2 is really good right up until the last act. I think the last little bit of the story is
You just hate John Marston.
yeah. I do hate John Marston. I think he's poorly written. I think he's annoying. I really don't like him. But Arthur Morgan, 10 out of 10. Would smooch.
Oh, okay. Arthur Morgan, Grim Reaper, Astarion.
Like Mary
No,
Mary
that's
F.
that's the order. I'm
Oh,
keeping the
okay.
list in order.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you haven't played this one yet, have you?
No, thanks for outing me on my own podcast.
You played the first one.
Yeah, I did.
And we were, for a time, like the only two people on the planet who didn't like it.
I think the entire reason I haven't done Red Dead 2 yet is the time commitment.
It is quite long.
I mean, I do want to play it. I would very much like to play it. And yeah, I played Red Dead 1, well, Red Dead Redemption 1.
Mm-hmm.
I have not played Red Dead Revolver. But Red Dead Redemption I played all the way through. I even played the spooky Halloween zombie mode, whatever that is. I don't know what
Undead
that's
Nightmare.
Called.
I actually
Nightmare.
never played Undead Nightmare.
I did. I don't know why. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of. I guess just the not the story. I don't know. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with Rockstar in general. Their stuff never seems to grip me.
Hey, here's the thing. I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Red Dead 2 was the first one that did for me.
See, I keep hearing it, and I believe it, and I just need to play it, and I will play it. That's why we have this show, is to play things that we've never played.
Yeah. Well, that came out in 2018, so it might take us a minute to get to it by way of replay.
No,
But we'll
give
get
give
there.
some time and we'll stop caring about schedule. We'll
Yeah,
just do what we want to do.
yeah. Once we're able to make enough money off of this to quit our jobs, we'll be able to get through the games a lot faster.
Oh, I'll be dead by then. I'll be dead and buried.
I mean, maybe.
You'll have to replace me with a robot.
Yeah, hologram AI Skyler for sure, for
Mhm.
sure. Number 15, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I love The Witcher 3. I really do. I think this is a little high for it, but I love it. I think it's
All right.
so good. Its DLCs are they're kind of the Elden Ring thing where like its DLC could be its own game.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal game. Doesn't run great, but very good. It is the Witcher game. Witcher 1 and 2 you can just skip and just go straight to Witcher 3. Number 14, Street Fighter 2. I'm not a fighting game guy, so I can't speak to the fighting game side of this list, but
I'm also not a huge fighting game guy, but what fighting games I do play, for one reason or another, I gravitated more towards Mortal Kombat than Street Fighter. So I have not played Street Fighter 2.
yeah, I do think I mean Street Fighter is obviously like the probably the most iconic fighting game franchise of all time. Like I think
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat is maybe close, but Street Fighter
no, yeah,
I think is the one.
I do not disagree.
So, and fighting games are a huge part of video game history. So being number 14 totally makes sense to me. Like
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Mortal Kombat's definitely sleazier too.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Like the gimmick is blood and chesty women,
Yeah.
at least for a while, and then it's just blood.
Well, speaking of blood, number 13, Doom,
Oh yeah, there you go.
1993.
Pretty iconic. What number was this?
Number 13, 1-3.
13. All right. Very good.
It says Doom has seen many sequels, but it's the original that players continue to revere with countless mods, and that developers take as inspiration with no end in sight. No matter how many modern shooters you've played, there's always a delight in tearing up the minions of hell with a BFG.
Mm-hmm.
I never played this as a kid, and when I go back and play it, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all right. But like, I mean, we saw at QuakeCon. This is still a huge game. People still have
Yeah.
a huge love for this. So like,
Still
I get
has its
it.
community.
I get it.
Yeah.
This is like the first shooter to where like every first person shooter afterwards was called a Doom clone for a certain amount of time until they became called
Sure,
Halo
yeah.
clones. So yeah, no, if we're talking it's weird that they call it best video games when I think what they really mean is like biggest video games, but
Most iconic.
yeah,
kinda-
but I think that this makes sense. Number 12, I think this was one of your honorable mentions, World of Warcraft.
It wasn't one of my honorable mentions, but I think I did mention it nonetheless. But yeah, you and I both played WoW.
Yeah,
Quite a bit.
too much, some would say.
Yeah, number 12, pretty dang high.
Pretty
But
high.
I mean, but one of the biggest MMOs of all time, so it makes sense.
Yeah, they say few developers take a painstaking interest in achieving a sense of place in their video game settings. World of Warcraft's Azeroth is an exception. The scale is daunting. Opening the map in World of Warcraft doesn't show a city, but multiple continents to navigate. As your character traverses the massively multiplayer online role-playing game, banding together with other players and taking on quests, Azeroth engulfs you with each step you take, which I think is accurate. Like it's the World of Warcraft really truly is unlike anything else. Like even other MMOs don't feel as lived in as World of Warcraft, and I don't know if that's just the prestige of it being World of Warcraft. Granted, I haven't played Final Fantasy 14, and apparently that's also really good. So I don't know, but the other ones I played don't hit.
There's something specifically like magical about logging into World of Warcraft, and
Yeah,
it just does. Like every time you're in a city, it feels like the cantina scene from Star Wars. Just like look at all these dudes running around.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone
especially if
has
you
their
haven't
own
played for a
sword,
while.
their own gear. Yeah,
it's crazy. Me personally, like I have this weird separation with MMOs where my favorite MMO is Guild Wars, but I know that it's not as good. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I know instinctively that it is not as good of a game as World of Warcraft. I just personally love it.
yeah.
Speaking of games that I actually don't think are particularly good, but I love, and this is definitely a hot take saying that, number 11, Halo Combat Evolved. I don't feel like it holds up super great, but it's iconic. It is the first 3D first-person shooter. It deserves to be on this list. I'll like, in terms of doing the most for the industry, I actually think 11 is kind of low for Halo CE.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Like my first thought when you said that it's CE at number 11, I was like, oh, I would have chosen 2 or something.
Yeah.
But But no, CE makes sense.
Absolutely. It says, catapulting Microsoft to smashing success in the world of video games, Halo Combat Evolved utterly raised the bar. Before its release, first-person shooters were largely played on PCs. But the incredible work of the developers at Studio Bungie was nothing short of a revelation, a stark look at the future games could have on consoles. So, that's
Pretty
another good
dang
point.
cool.
It's like, it was the thing that
Yeah.
made first-person shooters playable competitively on.
Yeah. CE's not my favorite Halo, but
No.
it's still definitely iconic enough to be at this point. Yeah.
So, we're at the final. We're at the top 10 now.
Top 10 greatest games of all time, biggest games of all time, most iconic games of all time.
Yeah. So every single one of these games has to be better than Halo CE, Mass Effect 2, Fallout, and basically our entire list of our favorite games.
Mm,
So
I'll be the judge of that.
let's see what they are. Number 10, Super Metroid 1994.
All right. All right. They get a pass this time. I get it. I understand.
I get it. I think this is a bad choice. I think this should be lower. I think it should be on the top 50 list. But like Super Metroid, if you ask somebody what are your favorite Nintendo properties, or even what are the biggest Nintendo properties, you're going to name like 4 or 5 before you get to Metroid.
Well, I agree to an extent. I think Metroid, for the most part, would appear in people's top, like Nintendo heads, not just like your typical average. Like, oh yeah, I've played Mario before.
Yeah.
But like your actual people who love Nintendo, I think Metroid will almost always be around the top 5.
They say the original Metroid was Nintendo's riff on the movie Alien, but its sequel Super Metroid became a game so singular it would be riffed on for the next 30 years. The definitive 2D exploration game Super Metroid puts players in the role of intergalactic bounty hunter Samus Aran, who must trudge the dangerous depths of planet Zebes and stop a band of space pirates from unleashing a living bioweapon, which is presumably Ripley? I don't know.
Ridley.
Ridley?
Yeah.
Ripley's the girl. Ripley's
Ripley's
the alien. Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Number 9, I love this game, but I still kind of feel like it's a little too high. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Yeah, okay. I also love this game. I don't know. Well, I didn't put it in my top 5. I guess I honorable mentioned it, so it wasn't like a top 10 type thing. But yeah, if you think about in the context of it's a game so massive and so beloved that they released it and sold it like 30 times.
For sure.
That's
Oh, absolutely.
its own statistic.
They say, although The Elder Scrolls has been a highlight of role-playing games for years, it wasn't until the 5th installment, Skyrim, that its deeply mechanical vision of first-person fantasy broke through into the mainstream. And I think that is true. Like, if they had put Daggerfall or Arena or something on here, I'd be like, bro, what?
Excuse me?
Yeah. But Skyrim is definitely the biggest Elder Scrolls in, like, by a lot. I know there's people who prefer Oblivion, and I respect that. I disagree, but I respect it.
Yeah, I feel like if Skyrim didn't exist or didn't sell as much as it did, then this list would have had Oblivion in like around 24 or
Absolutely.
25.
Yeah. It may not have even been on the list, to be quite honest with you.
I think it would have been on the list.
Maybe. Yeah, but no, I love this game, so I'm not mad that it's here.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it might be a little too high, and I actually think the same of number 8, Final Fantasy VII.
Think that's too high?
I do, yeah. And the reason I think that is because Final Fantasy VII is not even. I mean, it's a good Final Fantasy. It's not the best Final Fantasy.
It's definitely the most known Final Fantasy.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is probably true.
That's why.
Yeah, well, it's almost certainly because Rolling Stone isn't a video game company. So if they were like Final Fantasy, what's the popular one? 7. That's why they chose it, and I get that. I respect that.
Everyone knows Cloud and Barrett and Sephiroth and Tifa and Aerith and all that.
They know Cloud at least and Sephiroth.
Cloud and Sephiroth, sure.
Yeah.
But
they were in Kingdom Hearts, you see.
Hey, that's a tough boss fight.
Sephiroth is, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts is going to be number 1 on this list, right?
Yeah, it's got to be, right? I mean, it's got like so many other video games in it, basically. So, but no, I prefer. I think 6, 9, and 10 are all better than 7, and I don't even necessarily think that's a hot take.
I've heard people say 8 before as well.
Eight's good, but it's very edgy in a way. I like eight, but I would say that 8 and 7 are fairly similar on my tier listing. I think I would put 8 below 7.
All right, but how many other ones allow you to cross-dress?
That's a good question.
That's why 7's on the list, baby.
It's a good question. It's honestly, it has to be at least one other. Do you in Final Fantasy 15? You might in Final Fantasy 15.
Which one's 15?
That's the Boys on a Road Trip one.
Boy band in the car? Yeah, all right. So
Here's what they say about Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 might as well have been released in a piranha pit. In 97, when developer Square put out the role-playing game for PlayStation, the industry was stocked with enough RPGs such as Diablo and The Elder Scrolls to last a lifetime. But even among the excess, Final Fantasy 7 stands out like a shooting star. I don't know about that necessarily, but I know it's iconic, so I'm not against it. I think there had to be a Final Fantasy on this, and 7 is the one that I would have expected them to put on it.
Yeah.
But I just disagree, like emotionally.
That's all right.
And I kind of agree. It's the same thing with this one, where this is the one I would have expected them to put here. But number 7, Metal Gear Solid, the original, 1998.
Okay.
I think it should be Snake Eater, but
I would also say Snake Eater. Now, the first Metal Gear Solid has a lot of very iconic moments, stuff people love.
yeah.
But as far as which one's my favorite, I would say Snake Eater.
Well, they address that in their blurb. They say everybody has a different favorite in this series, but the 1998 release of Metal Gear Solid set the blueprint for what the franchise grew into in later years.
Your typical, like, we weren't sure, so we said the first one.
Yeah,
which
is fair, but yeah. Prescient, politely infused stories met with supernatural fourth wall breaking sequences. Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense. I do distinctly remember watching a friend of ours play this and just get his entire dick kicked off for like 6 hours. And it didn't look that much fun, to be honest with you. But I haven't played this first one, so maybe I shouldn't talk too much about it. Number 6, Half-Life 2.
Okay.
I feel like Half-Life 2 is more of a meme game than an actual good game. Is that a weird thing to say? I've played all of the Half-Life games, except Alex. And, like, they're good, but 6th best game of all time? I don't think so.
You played them, so you have a right to say that. I have not played Half-Life or Half-Life 2, so I can't speak to it in that way. I feel like, growing up, teenager, being told over and over again Half-Life 2 is the greatest game of all time.
Half-Life 3.
Just like how can it... Half-Life 3 any day now.
Any day now, baby.
How couldn't it live up to that?
I honestly wonder if that's why Half-Life 3 never has happened, is just because, like, people hold this thing up on a pedestal that, quite frankly, I don't think it deserves.
Does Half-Life 2, like, set up a sequel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well.
With the first Half-Life, Valve brought fans of complex puzzles and high-octane shooters, I don't know about high-octane, together with one stellar sci-fi. However, its sequel felt like a leap forward through multiple generations, in some ways, literally. The game picks up 20 years after its predecessor and brings its mute protagonist, Dr. Gordon Freeman, into a world where humanity is enslaved by a trans-dimensional race.
Oh, what year did Half-Life 2 come out?
2004.
Okay,
the same year as World of Warcraft.
I was going to say, okay, well, what if 20 years later that we missed it?
We missed it, yeah.
Yeah, they already didn't do it, so never mind.
Number 5, The Last of Us, 2013.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's like, it's a really good game, I understand. 5th best of all time, absolutely not, but like... Yeah.
I mean, they're doing the same thing, the Skyrim thing. We're like, well, we just put it out again.
Yeah.
The whole series. So,
yeah.
I mean, whatever.
It says, it can be tough for games to be taken seriously as a narrative medium, but The Last of Us is a perfect example of how powerful it can be when it works. The follow-up to Naughty Dog's playable action movie Uncharted is genuinely matches Hollywood's storytelling potential at every turn. I don't disagree with that. I think that it has a really good story. The first one does. The second one maybe not as much. It's still good, but not as much.
I don't know if I agree with it can be tough for a game to be taken seriously as a narrative. I mean, anything can be tough to be taken seriously, but why use that point for games like...
I think because it's Rolling Stone, so they're like so far outside the video game world usually that they don't.
A video game isn't a movie, but this one's a movie.
But this was a movie.
I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
I love the first Last of Us. I do so much. I think it's so good. But I think the argument that I hear constantly about it with this exact one, where it's like, it's the one that proved that video games can be art. And it's like, there are 30 years of video games before this that have been proving that constantly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is a really good game.
Like, would you not call Shadow of the Colossus art?
I think it would be impossible to call it almost anything other than art.
So,
because it's honestly not that much of a game.
It's the game that proved. Like, listen, it's a good game.
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not wrong in thinking that, but I don't know why we have to have this pretentious take towards it. It's so odd.
Well, get ready.
Uh-oh. Does this list get worse?
It does. Number 4 is not the proof of it, but it does.
Okay.
Number 4, Super Mario World.
That's twice you've said super, and I was like, oh, Superman 64.
Superman 64. Super Mario World 1991. There had to be a Mario on this. Mario is like the video game boy. He's the one who wins. Mm-hmm. So I understand. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is the Mario I would have chosen. I think if we're looking at most iconic and most like revolutionary ones that like did the most to further the medium, I would probably set Super Mario 64 because it was the game that invented 3D video games. But sure, whatever.
3D Marios on the list, whether it be like Galaxy or Odyssey even. But yeah, 64 would probably be the one to take that spot. But I mean, I guess I got no hangouts with them showing love to 2D games. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And World is like a very honed version, so I get it.
They say there are many Mario games as a character and a franchise. Nintendo's mascot has been on the forefront of just about every innovative leap in gaming. I don't know that I agree with that, but whatever. But Super Mario World is the perfect sweet spot. Its tight controls and inventive level design, like Chocolate Island 2, which has alternate pathways based on performance, are the gold standard that others have been chasing for decades. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's Mario. I get it. I understand the like iconicness of it, but like, I don't know. I truly feel like at this point, you could put out a game that is exactly Mario and just put a different skin on it, and people would be like, "This is nothing. This is nothing. This is like a 6, 7 out of 10 video game." And then the second you put the Bing Bing Wahoos back on, they're like, 9 out of 10, love it. Made me clap. I cried when I saw it.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't even disagree with what you're saying, where like there's certain Mario bits where if you reskinned it as anything else, then people would be like, well, I think what they would say is that's just Mario. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
But you know, I still think what they're saying is like 2D Mario is iconic and Mario World is the best one, so.
Yeah. No, I agree. This for me, in the final 3, this is where it really becomes like I think up until this point it was a good to like honestly a pretty damn good list for a company that does not work in video games. Mm-hmm. The last 3 to varying degrees piss me off.
Oh, all 3 of them?
All 3 of them.
Wow. All right. I'm ready. I prepared myself.
Number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5.
5, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
We talked about this a little earlier when Red Dead was on there. Rockstar Games have just never spoken to me on any level.
Sure.
But for me, specifically 5, I think I might hate Grand Theft Auto 5.
Wow.
And it's because of Trevor. The character Trevor is so awful. He is written like shit. They disrespect the entire previous franchise through Trevor. The first time you see Trevor, he is killing one of the protagonists from Grand Theft Auto 4. And then one of his side missions is that he goes to the cul-de-sac from San Andreas and kills everybody in it.
Oh, very nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto 5, the online is like iconic and it makes a ton of money, and so like on that level, sure, I get it. As a video game, Grand Theft Auto 5 is bad. And you know what? I'll even go a step further. The shooting in Grand Theft Auto feels like ass. The driving in Grand Theft Auto is like fine. It is doable, but it's not like a good game. And for a game called Grand Theft Auto, you should figure those two things out. If your game is about shooting guns and driving cars, those two things should feel good, and they never have. Never have.
Wow. I am not going to stand against you on this. Grand Theft Auto, I've always like enjoyed. Like, it's never been a I gotta play through the whole story thing for me. It's just like get to a point where like you've unlocked the all the islands in Liberty City and 4, and then just drive around and do whatever. I don't know. I played San Andreas, and so the idea that yeah, the 5 characters kind of just like says, "No, fuck San Andreas." Well, that's a little sad.
Yeah, that sucks.
Isn't Grand Theft Auto 5 like the most biggest sellingest game of all time though?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Which is why it's on this list. But
Yeah,
it
that would
says
be why.
best, not best to selling, and it's absolutely not the best game. I
Yeah.
don't know that there is a worse game for me personally on this list than Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's number 3. They say Grand Theft Auto 5 has a profound effect on video games as a whole through its staggeringly realistic open-world design and eclectic mix of storytelling and goofiness. The beloved crime series weaves a fascinating tale that involves 3 unlikely heroes, the psychotic Trevor, naive Franklin, and smarmy Michael, while creating an online ecosystem that encourages everything from role-playing as cops and robbers to pulling off a daring casino heist. I will also add, because I didn't say it, Grand Theft Auto Online is so toxic. Do not turn on Grand Theft Auto Online. Do not turn it on. It is not worth your time.
I think, well, that goes back to the Counter-Strike and League of Legends thing, where like 90% of the online thing is going to be like middle school, high schoolers, and they'll just say whatever the hell they want. They don't care. They haven't lived life yet.
If you turn on Grand Theft Auto Online for the first time, what's going to happen is you're going to get griefed constantly and not be able to play the game at all until you play it on like a private server. And at that point, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why am I playing Grand Theft Auto by myself? Like Grand Theft Auto Online by myself. Why am I doing that?
Sure. Yeah, okay. Well, until you said that, I was going to say the online bit I understand. But yeah, no, if it's got
It's all griefing. If you turn on an online lobby of Grand Theft Auto, you're going to be called a slur, and then someone's going to crash an airplane, like a helicarrier, into you every second that you walk in that world.
Before that bit, it said that it was like an inspiration to other games as far as like big open world. I don't even know if that's necessarily super accurate to say, because I think what a lot of people say about the Grand Theft Auto 5 map is that it's so big, but like a large chunk of it is just there to be big. There's nothing in it.
Yeah. There's like the city down at the bottom, and then there's some airporty like trailer park stuff way up at the top that you do stuff with Trevor at. Yeah. And everything in between is just mountains where like nothing of value happens. And I know people will be like, oh, but they like put animals in the mountains and you can go and you can shoot the animals, or like you can get into a bike race. And it's like, yeah, but you're not going to, and you didn't. Like, why are you telling me
you can shoot the animals?
I don't know. It's okay. It's like Red Dead Redemption 2 is on this list and is a better game in every single way than Grand Theft Auto 5, and I think it's upsetting. It's upsetting that this is number 3. Number 2, it's so impossible to argue that this game is not iconic, but second best game of all time, Tetris.
Right. Okay, well, you and I have a very specific grudge against massive Tetris fans.
It's the most perfect game of all time. It doesn't do anything wrong. It's like the best game ever. It everything it does perfectly. That's because it does nothing. If you sit still, you'll be the best at sitting still. If you try for nothing, you will fail at nothing.
All right. For the record, I do not hate Tetris. I do not even dislike Tetris.
No, me neither.
But like it's an odd. And you know what? I get it. As far as like a little like arcade puzzle game, it's fun. It does exactly what it's supposed to. I get it, but I don't know why. It's like getting a fast food hamburger from McDonald's. Like best specifically burger. Hamburger with no cheese.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's exactly what I ordered.
It's exactly what I ordered, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's the best. Like, is number 1 gonna be Pong?
No, I actually think that you might be okay with number 1, because I think number 1 is one of your favorite games.
Ooh, called me a normie over here.
No. We'll get there. We'll get there.
But yeah, no, it's like Tetris is exactly what it needs to be, but I don't know why that means we have to call it the greatest thing
The
ever.
greatest game of all time,
I'm not even
dude.
calling it a bad thing.
Man, people
Like it's a
loved
good
it. It
thing.
was
Like
packaged with the Game
it's
Boy and it
fun.
sold 1 million copies. Like, it was so
Sure.
good, dude.
Yeah. Well, all right. Daniel's a little mad about it.
The
But
thing is, like, I'm not even mad at the game. I'm mad at the people
yeah, no,
around the game. You know what I
that's
mean?
why I'm just trying to approach it like why do we need to talk about it that way? Why can't it just be like, oh yeah, Tetris, like
Yeah,
fun.
Tetris
It's like
existed.
Yahtzee.
People don't talk about, like,
It's like I like
Pac-Man.
I got Monopoly for the PlayStation and it's Monopoly.
It's
It's
exactly
exactly what it's
Monopoly.
supposed
It's
to
a
be.
perfect
Like
rendition of Monopoly.
I
Yeah.
know, dude. And like as far as like the actual gameplay, like yes, it's cute. It's a very cute puzzle. It's better than Peggle. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. I
Um
would maybe agree with that. Yeah.
but it's a game you play like well you're sitting on the toilet taking a shit. I don't
That's
know,
what I'm
man.
saying. Is like,
What do
this is
you
one of those games where at this point it's just like packaged on everything. You know, like this may as well be Spider Solitaire.
I don't know. When the Tetris fans find this bit of us
Yeah, let
not
us know why
saying
we're wrong. I'm genuinely
when
curious. I mean, as
when
if I
it
haven't heard it before. But yeah, tell me why you think Tetris is one of the best games of all time, because I
when
disagree.
when the Tetris fans attack us viciously for not thinking Tetris deserves to be number 2 or 1 on the greatest games of all time thing, will they be more mad at you for angrily saying it doesn't deserve it, or
Yeah.
me for ignorantly saying I don't get it?
They'll be more mad at me for sure. I'm a target for these sorts of things, so I'm. It's okay. I'm prepared
Alright.
for it. I have thick skin. Tell me everything you want. Anyway, they say Hank Rogers showed up in Moscow uninvited in 1988 with one
I
goal in
saw the
mind:
movie.
to secure the rights to Tetris. I feel like this is the description of the movie. He saw it. Alexei Pagetov's puzzle game, what millions around the world would too, that the simple act of turning geometric shapes and fitting them together was at once stimulating and meditative, and the drive to beat a high score could be a lifelong fixation. Eat my balls, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to romanticize Tetris.
You're putting
Like
blocks together, dude.
even if the story of the movie, which was based on the real events but
Was that a
dramatized,
good
I'm
movie? You
sure
saw it, right?
it was okay.
Okay.
I'm not even saying that
Better or
because
worse
I'm
than Air?
Tetris. What?
Better or worse than Air?
Oh, it was better than Air. I didn't
Okay.
care for Air at all.
I was gonna say the BlackBerry one, but I couldn't remember what it was called.
It's called Blackberry.
Oh shit.
If I had to rank those 3 movies, I would say Blackberry, Tetris, then Air.
Okay, so wait, so Air's the best one.
No.
Oh, you did. Oh, backwards. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's best to worst. Blackberry, Tetris, Air.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's weird that that was a thing for a minute there. Just like, here's the movie about the invention of that thing that you don't really care about, but like,
I
yeah,
don't
why
think
not?
that's over. I think we're gonna get a couple more of those before people realize
Would you
we don't
qualify
care.
the like slate of Hasbro toy game movies as that? Because like maybe, depending.
Oh, Mattel, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry.
After Barbie?
Well, I guess Barbie for sure doesn't fit into that. Although it kind of has the energy of like, this is why Barbie is important, but it's not really. At the end of the day, that story's not about Barbie. It's about women.
Yeah.
So
But that doesn't mean that we need a Micro Machines movie.
if the Micro Machines movie trailer, whenever that comes out, is not spoken at 4,000 miles an hour, I will be so pissed.
Is that guy still alive?
Probably not. Probably not.
Well, now I'm sad. What's number 1?
Number one, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay, there you go. I was wondering when
Yeah.
the 3D Zelda was gonna make it on.
It had to. Here's the thing. I love Breath of the Wild. I genuinely do. I think it's a very good game.
Yeah.
Number one video game of all time, though. Like, come on.
Yeah, that might be a bit. And listen, I love it.
I
I love
deserves
Zelda. I
to
love
be
3D
on this
Zelda.
list, but I don't. Number one's a hard ask for me.
Sure. I mean, I think it that Breath of the Wild has merit for being in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. But like, and am I mad that it's number 1? No.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's what I was saying. Is because I know it's one of your favorite games.
Yeah. But do I think there's others that could be there? Yeah, Tetris, obviously.
I mean, you said Wind Waker on yours. You know what I mean? So,
I did, but I also gave the caveat that they it changes constantly.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild is up there. Uh, Ocarina of Time is up there. Twilight Princess is up there. I
Yeah.
basically said all of them except for Skyward Sword, and I still like Skyward Sword.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Here, the thing, man, I'm gonna catch so much flack for this episode. If you got this far and still don't hate me, leave a comment. Say just the emoji of a heart because I need it. I really
while he's saying whatever he's about to say,
Okay.
just know that I love Breath of the Wild.
I
Just think about that.
I also very much like Breath of the Wild. Can we stop comparing every open world game that comes out to Breath of the Wild? Can we stop doing that?
Oh, sure.
Because Breath of the Wild was not the video game that invented climbing. It was not the video game that invented open worlds. It was not the video game that invented gliders. It might be the first one that the people at IGN or whatever played, I guess, based on how they talk about it. But like, Breath of the Wild is a very good game that does those things. But it is not some revolutionary, oh my god, wow, it really did the thing that no one else has ever done before. It didn't do that. It took a tried and true formula and it put Zelda in it. And that's a really good idea for selling a Zelda video game. Is you take a formula for RPGs that people have loved for a decade and you put the characters that people have also loved for a decade, but in a different way. You stick them together. It's chocolate and peanut butter. It makes sense. I understand.
I'm assuming that when it comes to that, like calling everything like inspired by Breath of the Wild, maybe it's because like right after Breath of the Wild, there was a handful of like just straight up Breath of the Wild clones.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Down to like the landscapes and the climbing mechanic.
There's definitely Breath
like
of the Wild
that.
clones.
Like there was a bunch. I can't remember the names.
Immortals Phoenix Rising is the first one that comes to mind.
Sure.
There was definitely a couple of them. But when Elden Ring came out and people were like,
no,
oh, Elden Ring is a Breath of the Wild clone. Eat my ass. What are you talking about?
That's like offensive to say. Actually.
Yeah. And people were saying it and they meant it.
Come on, man. No, people just have the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
And what do they mean? Like Elden Ring has grass. You know what else had grass?
You know what else had grass?
Breath of the Wild. Calm down.
Get out of my face. Anyway, I should probably read the blurb at some point.
Not everything needs to be like talked about being this ultimate revolutionary thing. You can just say that Breath of the Wild was a great game that hit all the notes it tried to hit perfectly. And that can be it, man. That could be the end of the day. And that could still be like a top 10 video game of all time in my eyes.
Yeah. So what they say about it is they say, The Legend of Zelda is a series defined by reinvention. With some exceptions, each game literally stars a different hero named Link. I guess that's true. That's technically true. It's kind of the same guy, but it's not the same guy, but it's the same guy.
Sometimes they're the same guy.
Sometimes they're the same guy.
Now. In
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the same guy.
This same guy, and in Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, it's the same guy. Trying to think if there's
in Four Swords, it's four guys. So what does that mean? Is that anything?
Well, it's four guys, but it's one guy split into four.
Oh, so it's not like Link, Lunch, and Lewis?
How did you know my naming convention for Zelda? How did you know that?
Because I've known you forever, dude.
I specifically played through, I want to say, probably like Twilight Princess. When I played through, I named him Lunch.
Lunch is a good one. Lunch is a funny name. Sorry, a different hero named Link. In a different era or timeline from the last, trapped in a perpetual loop in the fight between good and evil, each game presents new innovations, new mechanics, and worlds to explore, down to the art style and tone. But Breath of the Wild was revolutionary. It took the very simple premise of the original, a hero dropped cold into an unfathomably huge world, and ran with it to the furthest extent. Other open world games let you feel like you're exploring, but Breath of the Wild makes every action a personal puzzle to solve, leaving behind the endless fetch quests, checklists, and markers of the genre. It's a free-form game of discovery where its colorful environments and subdued orchestral score lead players along by hinting at their curiosities. I feel like it's a really bold thing to say that it's left behind fetch quests and checklists in a game with 1,000 Korok seeds.
Fair. That's a fair criticism.
That's an interesting thing to write into your blurb as to why it's the best video game of all time. There's no checklists. There's 1,000 Korok seeds and like 500 shrines. Don't worry about it though. But don't worry about it though.
Did they really say no fetch quests?
It says no fetch quests. There's definitely fetch quests, right?
There's tons of fetch quests.
Yeah. Well, apparently this guy didn't play them.
Like, fetch quests have their place. Like,
yeah, I don't think they're
fine to have fetch quests, but there are multiple people, like named quests that pop up and go into your quest log that says go get this guy 3 dragonflies. Like, that's a fetch quest.
Yeah. Or like any of the ones where it's like to wake up the big ladies.
I think where this list started to offend me is not even the placement of games on the list,
other than Tetris,
or games that they've decided to put on the list. It's the lofty, important dialogue that they're using. This game is so important because it's not afraid to not be a video game. It's just like, what are you talking about?
They should have put Death Stranding on there here for that reason.
Oh, get his ass. It's like, games are allowed to be games. Like, that's why we're playing them, to play a game. And sometimes if a game is narrative driven, you get lost in the narrative, and that's what that helps us play them. It makes it work. Like, if a game works, it works. It doesn't have to like be. It's kind of the same thing with talking about horror movies, and people are like, "Oh, I don't care for horror movies, but elevated horror."
But elevated. Yeah.
I love The Witch, and I do love The Witch. First of all, it's a great movie. But like, saying that it's better than dirty old horror movies, like, no, dude, it's a horror movie.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
It can be
it's good.
Yeah,
it's a really, really well made horror movie. But like, what are you talking about?
I agree. Well, Skyler.
Yeah, it annoys me. All right, go ahead.
I'm glad that we had basically the same reaction to this, because I was feeling crazy reading it, where I was like, this is really good. Wow, Rolling Stone did it. And then I got to the last couple and I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, again, it's not even necessarily the placement. Like, I get it. If they want to say that Tetris is the fucking second best game of all time, sure, dude, it's your list.
Yeah.
But it's just like how self-righteous they are talking about it is a little interesting to me.
It's too much. Anyway, if you want to let us know how stupid we are for not liking Tetris, you can leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Daniel J. McG, or you can follow the show on Twitter at RSR_POD, or Skyler on Blue Sky at Skyler8bit. As always, let us know any place that we aren't, so that we can get there. Leave a comment, leave a review, do all the the things that people want you to do to help push the show. We need your help, and we would very much appreciate it. And until next week, we'll see you around.
The game's just starting, the world's so bright. Jump right in, everything